Hey, aloha, and hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Embers Rising, the podcast where we ignite spark within, fuel our passions, and elevate our journey towards personal and professional fulfillment. I'm your host, Wendy Jae, and I'm truly delighted to have you with me today. Our episode titled Stand Up and Speak Out explores the power of asserting our beliefs, the courage to speak our truth, and liberate the impact of letting go. The episode could not come at a better time considering the chapter that just closed in my life and opening of new beginnings. So I want to start off by welcoming you here. Thank you for joining me. Super fired up to share this message with you today. Yeah, I want to dive in. First of all, I want to start off by drawing inspiration from figures that are well known in my life, and I'm just going to choose one that I really thought brought a lot of value to me when I was creating this episode notes here, and that is someone who is a very well-known figure. She's fearless in her authenticity and a world-renowned artist, Taylor Swift. And I'm going to share key takeaways on lessons that can be applied to all of us. And I'm going to share 3 ways you can also embrace the stand out, speak out ethos and fight for the freedom of living an authentic life that you deserve. So important. All right, I'm going to share some stories with you about Taylor Swift and kind of her background, where she came from, and some of the things that she had to fight in her life, just to help bring some context to a lot of us who may be going through a situation, a challenge, a relationship, or something that you feel like you have got to stand out and speak up. So let's dive into Taylor's story. I always use my power people, my mentors, my coaches, anyone out there that I just feel really helps me like draw in the strength that you need, that I just feel like I need that extra oomph to help me fight that wave. So let's talk about Taylor. You know, over the years, Taylor Swift has courageously confronted challenges that tested her principles, from challenging Spotify's royalty policies in 2014 to standing against the sale of her master recordings in 2019, to using her platform to shed light on sexual harassment. Taylor exemplifies the power of standing up and speaking out. Over the last couple of years, I've watched 2 of Taylor Swift's documentaries, such as Miss Americana and Folklore, the Long Pond studio sessions, which both of these shows gave me some really key lessons that made sense for this episode. And I'm going to dive right in because I think there's 5 big key takeaways that we can learn from watching someone like Taylor Swift, or watching someone that you believe in that resonates with the power to stand up and speak out and what it takes to do that. The number 1 is the importance of authenticity and how we show up and what we're able to say. Now, in Taylor's situation, she's always been applauded for that, as well as she's been able to do that in her music, in her personal life, in personal relationships. And the documentary shows really also reinforce the importance of being true to yourself, being true to oneself, and also facing the public when sometimes it comes to scrutiny and criticism. It's sometimes hard to stand up and speak out when it's something you really believe in, but majority maybe doesn't. But there might be, if you shared your vision, your mindset in a way, others might be on the same page. It's a place when you're thinking about importance of authenticity to advocate for yourself. Share no matter how hard it is with the person or others around you about the situation. In my situation of a chapter that I just closed to open myself up for new beginnings, I had to share this information several times in several different ways. Sometimes when you share something that's really bothering you and the situation is like, I've got to share this, saying it, I will say, sometimes doesn't always make the like click. Sometimes you have to write it down and share it. It's to the same person too. It may have to be like, hey, I verbally said it, I'm writing it down, I'm making you a video, whatever it is. Sometimes if it doesn't change quick enough, it has to be heard over and over again for them to actually get it. That person may be so busy in their mind doing other things, they're not really hearing what you have to say to make the change. So just know that. Don't be frustrated off the first round that you had the self-confidence to like say it, made the change, you're authentic about it, but like it didn't happen. Sometimes it has to be done a few different ways, and that's just how we intake information, or maybe where the person was at that day when they heard the message, and maybe other things going on in the back of their mind. So I think that's important. When we're thinking about authenticity, I also think really allowing yourself to admit mistakes and apologize when it's needed. You don't have to overly apologize, but admit the mistakes it's needed. I always feel like, yeah, I'm okay with admitting the mistake. and being like, yep, I didn't go all in on this, or I didn't see it from your view, or we didn't have as many meetings as we should, or, we didn't connect when we should have been connecting. Whatever it is, admit the mistake and apologize. Stay true to your vision. Stay true to your roots. Be authentic. Say it authentically, not with an ego vibe. Come across where you have the positive intention behind you. When you're thinking about being authentic as well, you have to protect your mental health as well as your emotional well-being. If the situation or challenge is starting to go down, like affecting your mental space, things around you, there's definitely an issue. That's also a red flag saying, hey, this isn't happening. I'm getting up in the morning and thinking about the situation over and over and over again, and it's not changing. So it's gotta change. You cannot let other people destroy you and who you are. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in who you are and what you are about standing for, what you stand for. All right, number 2, resilience and adversity. So important. Going back to Taylor's story, Taylor Swift has faced several challenges, including disputes with record labels, public feuds, other celebrities, intense media scrutiny. In her documentaries, they show how she navigated these hurdles with resilience and using them for fuel for her creative work. And as an artist myself, I love when I go through a situation and I'm like, awesome, this is just fuel for me to learn from and share, because what I just came from has so many different lessons that I am so fired up to even share more with you. I do think resilience is a skill set and it requires building. It's not all of us have like, hey, I'm resilient. It's something you have to practice. The old Wendy Jae could have stayed in a I'm so sorry story and just tanked. That was like, oh, I'm self-doubting. I've lost my confidence. I don't know who I am anymore. You're questioning your values at that point. And also your lens is very narrow and very small. I always think about that. Like, what lens am I looking through the situation? I remember when I was working with Srikumar Rao, creating personal mastery course I took a long time ago, and he was amazing. He talked about the way we see things through different lenses. And, do you have the rose-colored glasses on today? And I think about that, what lens are you viewing the situation from? Because you don't know other people's situation. And as well as, what lens do you need to put on to be resilient? When do you need to stop the story so you can stand on top of the story? That's so important. So I'm going to share more about that, but I want to continue this message. So resilience in adversity, that's number 2, right? Number 1, be authentic. 2, have resilience. 3, stand up for yourself. In Taylor's situation, she battled over the rights for her music, right? It was widely publicized. She had the determination to fight for what she believed in. Just like you, we've got to fight for what we believe in. Even at the risk of damaging her public figure, her public image, we can learn a powerful lesson of courage and conviction when we stand up for ourselves and speak the truth. We have to be able to say, I believe in this. This goes against all my other values if I'm doing this. So I've got to stand up and speak out and say hey, no matter what, this is not happening. Now, it might be shocking to the other person or the situation that they're like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this. So it might just be like a cutoff. In my situation, it was just a cutoff. I lost a friend. I lost a business partner. You never know what it could be effect for you. They might be like, hey, let's work this out. Let's talk it through. It all depends on how that other person relationship situation is for you that could make the change to another space for the both of you, to make it a positive. You still have to say, I've got to stand up for myself and have the courage to believe and fight for what I believe in. So that's number 3. Number 4, so powerful, the power of your voice. In Taylor Swift's situation, she's been known to use her platform to speak up about the issues that matter to her, such as her artist rights, political matters. And in the documentaries, if you take a look at those 2, it really highlights the power of influence when it comes down to having a platform and being responsible to use those platforms to create effective, positive changes. And I really encourage you, if you do have a platform and you're listening to this and you have the power of your voice, to use it for positive change. We don't need to go down the road of giving anyone any information that's not valuable for positive change out there in the world. I think we have enough going on in each other's world and all around us that we do need to lift each other up. And it's important, again, if you have a voice and you have a platform, share it in a positive light so that someone else can see it in a different way and lift them up. So The power of voice is a powerful place to be. All right, so we talked about authenticity, talked about adversity, talked about standing up for ourselves, the power of voice. Now let's talk about number 5, the value of relationships. This one is so near and dear to my heart because I really value people around me, and I value building positive relationships. There are some hacks to do that. In Taylor Swift's situation, going back to her story, her relationships are very important to her. She puts a lot of emphasis on her fans, her family, her friends, the connections, her networks, the network that plays a significant role in her life and work. It highlights, even in the documentaries, the importance of having a solid support system. And I cannot highly recommend constantly creating and nurturing valuable relationships around you. Everyone you come in contact with is a potential for a relationship, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's the cashier, whether it's your hairstylist, whether it's, a friend, a new family member, a new business partner, a new team member, a new support person in your network. It's a chance for you to practice nurturing a new relationship. And I can't say enough about that. When you approach someone with kindness and what we say in Hawaii, pono, love, aloha, giving yourself all in, you will not fail. Even if it backfires on you, it's on them, not you. It's on them, not you. The value of relationships, man, prioritize it. Make it amazing. And if you're in that situation with someone that's not amazing and not raising you up to the next level, it is time to make a change. It is time to make a change, whatever that is. So very important, the value of relationships. And then number 6, self-love and acceptance. In Taylor's story, her journey includes a lot of learning to accept herself, flaws and everything. This lesson of self-love and acceptance is something all of us can resonate with. And I feel like we should all strive to incorporate this into our own lives. It's very hard for us to love ourselves all the time or accept ourselves all the time. But it is something that takes practice. And we all go through the waves of up and downs and feeling like, especially when you're in a space of like thinking about standing up and speaking out, like, I don't love myself. I don't know if I accept myself for this, but I'm going to say this, or I'm in this space. So self-love and acceptance is so important when we're thinking about these lessons of standing up and speaking out. I just love thinking about how we can make a difference in each other's lives. All right, so we've talked about Taylor Swift stories or documentaries. If you have a chance to check them out, go check them out, reflect on her life experiences and take it for your own. Grab the valuable insights that are shared. The journey is important. She's one of the most influential artists of our time, and I cannot highly recommend following her lead and her passion and her power if you need to grab on that from the other side to help yourself make a change. Now let's dive into a topic many of us can relate to, and I want to go back into being in relationships that don't serve us. We've all been there at some point, and whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, professional relationship, it's important to recognize when relationships are not positively contributing to our growth. And I really think about that. When you have a relationship that's not serving you and you are feeling drained, devalued, unsupported, just like Taylor Swift, who expresses her experiences with relationships through her music, it's important for us to recognize and acknowledge when we're in a relationship that's lacking a higher vibration. We have to recognize, this really is not like my highest and best. I'm not sure where this person's at, but I'm here, but they're not in the same space. So how do we do that? It comes down to a little bit what we just shared, right? It comes down to self-awareness, trusting our feelings, above all, having the courage to prioritize our emotional and mental well-being. So important. And I want to bring in someone right now that also really motivates me and inspires me to grow in my spirituality and personal development. And if you are not following this incredible human being, definitely go check her out. Her name is Gabby Bernstein. She's a motivational speaker and author known for her teachings in spirituality, personal growth. She just offers so much about letting go of toxic relationships. And I want to share 3 ways that you might suggest doing this when you're thinking about standing up and speaking out. These 3 ways have really helped me make changes in my life. And these are the 3 that I stick to. I also use a lot of mantras because when we're going through a situation or something just happened and now you're out of the situation, you're like, okay, I actually did stand up and speak out and it made this massive transition for me. But the thoughts continue to loop, right? So I've adopted a mantra that Gabby also shared. What I do is I think about this mantra about when that looping thought comes in, the first thing I say is peace. I just say peace out loud. And so my husband knows it. Like I have a looping thought and it's frustrating. I'm like, oh my gosh, here it comes again. I say peace. And then I say, peace starts within me. Peace starts within me. I kind of use my like 4 fingers here. Peace starts within me, and start your piecing out from that looping thought. I also use, you got this. If you're also like challenging a new situation, that's another mantra I use. I'll say, hey, you got this. And I'll just say it out loud. Hey, you got this. So that's another mantra I love to use, because sometimes when you're in that space and it doesn't feel good and you're like, ooh, I'm not sure. In fact, I used it yesterday. I was mountain biking and there was some challenging technical stuff and I didn't want my brain to get in the way of it. So I just said, hey, you got this. You got this. You got this. I might say it several times just to like, boom, get through the section of what you need to get through. So anyway, I want to dive back into the 3 ways you might suggest working through or letting go a toxic relationship. One of the first ways I think about is practicing forgiveness and compassion. I think it's important to emphasize the power of forgiveness and compassion in the process of letting go and transitioning. This involves both forgiving yourself and the other person for any past hurts and mistakes. And when you can release resentment, you can cultivate compassion. You free yourself from emotional burdens of more toxic relationship or anything you're attracting, and you're allowing yourself to heal. So the first thing I think about, because it's the thing that most of us don't think about, we want to go to a rage room and smash things, which is also good therapy. But when you think about the resonation of the energy on you, start with practicing forgiveness and compassion. That's one of my like go-tos. Okay, so forgiveness and compassion. Let it go. Forgive where you made the mistakes or the hurts or the intentions were taken incorrectly. And it could be all on the other person, but go ahead and have forgiveness even for their mistakes. Know that maybe they weren't in the best space to even make the decision that they made, And so, man, I say to myself, I forgive you for making a decision maybe that wasn't your highest and best today. I forgive you for that. And now I'm going to have the compassion to say, take care, love you, moving on, so that I can let go and nurture myself. It's very hard. No doubt. This is a very, very hard one. I think number 1 is like so hard. If you can get through that, you can move to number 2. Because if you can get through the forgiveness and compassion space, you're like, okay, did the forgiveness, and you've got to really mean it. You've got to feel it to make the shift. Now you can get into that compassion space for yourself. You're freeing yourself and you're like allowing yourself to heal. That is so amazing. Number 2, shift your energy and focus. When you let go of a toxic relationship, even Gabby advises us to redirect our energy and focus towards positive aspects in your life. Engage in things that bring you joy. Surround yourself with supportive friends, community, things you love to do, your hobbies. Get inside your personal growth activities. Head into your prayer, meditation space. Journal about what just happened. Like get all that stuff down on paper. Voice it on your phone, on your memos. Like get it out. At least it's out of your vibration, right? And now you can start shifting the focus away from the toxic situation that you just came from to create space for the healing and transformation to begin. That's what I love about this. Like, to create space is so important. And sometimes we don't think about it because you're already going through that situation, you're in that challenge, or you've just come from it and you're still looping the story. You're not standing on top of the story. And I love this. Okay, so when I talk about standing on top of the story, like you've closed a chapter in a book, I literally picture old school, hardcover book, close the hardcover book, big giant hardcover book, the biggest you can imagine, the chapter's closed, stand on top of that story. Don't stay in the story. Because when you're in the story, you continually loop the thoughts of the story. And that continues to drive your mind and everything that you're dragging through with you into the day, the energy, the universe is coming with you. You don't want that. But when you stand on top of the story, that's your power. That's your powerhouse. That's your stage. You're like, boom, I'm standing on that story. That situation just happened. It wasn't great. It affected a lot of people, but I'm standing on top and I absolutely believe the values that I stand for. I was authentic. I've done forgiveness. I've been compassionate, and I know what I stand for. Now you've got power. Yes. that puts you in a great space. Definitely for you to start talking about shifting your energy and now focusing. Get into that space like, all right, I'm creating the cool space now. When you're standing on top of your story, you can do that. All right, number 3, you've got to set up healthy boundaries and detach. Setting clear and healthy boundaries with a toxic individual or person or situation is very difficult. Detaching emotionally from the toxic person or situation is essential for your well-being. You have to limit or even cut off contact at times when it's needed to create the space to nurture your emotional, spiritual growth, everything around you to uplift. Remember that letting go of toxic relationships doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're prioritizing your mental health, your emotional health. It's important to know the boundaries that you set so that you are clear about where you stand and you can create the space for you to have the growth. I think this piece is often missed when we're talking about relationships and like letting go and moving on and creating healthy boundaries for ourselves, because we're like, yeah, I let that go. I moved on. That's like the cop out, right? Because if you just said, yeah, I let go, I moved on, did you actually let go and create new space for yourself? Because if you did it in an attitude like that, you probably didn't do it in your highest and best self, where you could look at it from a different space and say, yeah, I let go of that. That chapter's closed, but I've created new space for new beginnings and I'm standing on top of that story. But I've also been compassionate and forgave that person for whatever happened. And so I am now shifting my energy, my focus. I've detached. I have healthy boundaries surrounding me. That's powerful. That's standing on top of it. That's what I love about this. Oh, it really fires me up to talk about relationships that like can make the big growth space. I have to say this because I don't know your situation and everybody's situation is unique. And I want to, whatever advice, suggestions I offer, really consider your unique circumstance. Consult with professionals. That's very important. Whatever challenging situation you're dealing with at the moment right now. Obviously, I'm just sharing what I know has worked for myself, what I am working through myself, through my mentors, through my coaches. Do what you need to do for yourself. Find books on the topic that you're struggling with. Watch videos. Find good teachers. Again, reach out to your network of people, especially for your own unique situation. Very important. All right, so we talked about relationships that don't serve us and the feelings of feeling drained, unsupported, devalued, and what you can do to make changes to free yourself up, right? Practice forgiveness and compassion, shift your energy and focus, and set healthy boundaries and detach. Those are the big 3. Now let's talk about a few other things that I feel like are powerful pieces into this shift. And I want to dive into some ways that have helped me make shifts when we're talking about physical actions of making the shifts from standing up and speaking out. And now you're like, okay, said it, but now I need to like move on. And I want to share these 3 ways that have really helped me put action steps into changing toxic relationships or situations or challenges. Number 1, mindfulness and meditation. I cannot express how engaging in a mindfulness practice or meditation or prayer session can help bring down and manage your stress, your anxiety, and it promotes your emotional well-being. Even the meditation space sitting there allows you to focus on present moment, increasing your self-awareness, and cultivate a sense of inner peace. That is so important. And I know that my mentors and coaches really recommend doing that. And I have found great peace in that. I think when you model someone else's lifestyle that you love, that you're like, oh man, that person is so amazing, find out if they have a meditation or a spiritual practice, because it really is a foundation piece. And I have found for myself that it really sets the tone for myself, for David and I, my husband. It helps like set the tone for the moment and like bring down the stress. It also helps put things in perspective. Number 2, physical exercise. I love this one because regular physical exercise is not only beneficial for the body, but also for the mind. Exercise releases endorphins, which naturally are mood elevators. It reduces the feelings of depression and anxiety. It's possible that even forms of exercise into your routine can help with your mental health. I love getting out and being active, whether it's inline skating, mountain biking, stand-up paddleboarding, surfing, hiking, strength training, whatever it is, physical exercise for me, moving through really helps. Even if it's walking, Just walking, plain walking is moving things through your body. Like move that stuff through your body, move that energy through your body, get rid of it, move into the higher space to allow the bigger, better, brighter lights to come in and shine for you. So physical exercise, number 2. Number 3, I can't emphasize enough, continuous learning and personal growth, which focuses on empowering individuals through personal growth and self-improvement, right? Engaging in continuous learning, reading books, attending courses, seminars, events, listening to podcasts or videos, watching videos on personal development can contribute to your mental well-being and sense of purpose. I shared a story in my first episode about support groups and how I had to use YouTube video back in the day before communities were really built to help me get through an emotional and mental space, to help me shift my mindset. And that was all I had at the time. I was new to a new place. I was living in Maui, and I didn't have a whole network of community that's helping me shift through a not very great space. So I actually used YouTube videos. I watched and heard over and over and over to change the loop in my head that I could do this. I could have the power to do this, and start really like imagining the confidence that you can have to make the shift. So I love personal growth because it allows you to see and change your life in so many different ways that you never thought possible. In fact, I wouldn't even be here today if I had not even gone down the personal growth route. I just saw incredible people around me that I wanted to model, and I was like, I want to model their actions, the way they think, what books do they read? How are they going through their day? What's their structure in their life? How do they format their language? I really wanted to take that. And I feel that that's really helped me find my sense of purpose. And I think when you can contribute to your continuous learning, you can also contribute to your mental well-being and your emotional well-being. And it really helps drive the focus for yourself and your confidence in who you are when you have that behind you as that foundation. So very important. Okay, so there's another few things I want to share with you, and it's 3 empowering ways to overcome confidence, because I just touched on confidence. Confidence comes from challenges, right? And confidence can really put us in a space of self-doubt, questioning ourselves, who we are, if we're good enough, and it can really drive you into a dark space. I've been there. I have been there. If you listen to my first episode, I talked a little bit about that dark space, going into spaces that I really need to uplift. And I didn't have the tools. I did not have the tool set to overcome confidence in challenging situations. I have them now, and I still struggle with it, but I know that they're there in my toolkit. So now it's just about opening the toolkit and using them and saying, okay, I'm in this space. What tools do I have? What tools do I need to pull out to overcome this challenge? And when I think of toolkits, by the way, I think of literally growing up and going into my parents' garage and looking at the toolboxes and literally opening up their toolboxes and seeing all of these tools. These tools were very specific for certain things, and they had to have them because they did certain things, right? Help build a fence, help make a bookcase, whatever it was, they had these tools. So when I think about mindset tools, these are tool sets for you. What does your toolkit look like so that you can be reminded when you're in that space of standing up, speaking out ethos? It's like, hey, okay, I need to look in my toolkit here. What can I have to empower me to overcome these challenges? So let's dive into this. So here's 3 ways to overcome confidence in challenges. Number 1, embrace your uniqueness. Confidence really begins with recognizing and celebrating your uniqueness. And remember, there's no one else quite like you in the entire world. Embrace your strengths, your talents, and your quirkiness and everything you have to understand that you are special. Be unapologetically yourself. Don't compare yourself to others, which is so hard in this day and time where you see everybody else doing the most amazing thing on social media, on podcasts. It's like, oh my God, they're so amazing, or on TV. And it's like, I really want to be like that. Be yourself. You have something valuable to offer to this life. That's why you're here. The world needs your authentic self. Goes back to what we talked about earlier, being authentic. How important is it to be authentic, really? So embrace your uniqueness, all right? Very important. Confidence begins with recognizing and celebrating that uniqueness. Number 2, take imperfect action. Fear of failure often holds us back from pursuing our goals and dreams, even when we're talking about standing up and speaking out. But Growth and confidence comes from taking action, even if it's not perfect. Embrace the idea that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from it. Instead of waiting for everything to be like flawless, perfect time, perfect moment, I'm going to do this to take the first steps towards the thing. Each step forward, no matter how small it is, brings you closer to success and boosts your self-belief, your self-awareness, your self-assurance, your self-doubt. Now you're starting to build your confidence. So take imperfect action. Even if it's like, oh, this is going to be really messy and I don't really want to do this, but if I do this, I know there might be a light on the end of the tunnel. So take imperfect action. I take a lot of imperfect actions where it's like super messy and I'm like, well, we're doing this. I'm going to try it. And oh my God, I failed again. So, but I'm like, okay, that's okay. I have the toolkit. I know what I need to do. I'll, go to the next thing and I'm going to try this, but I learned from this for sure. Now I'm going to like apply it to over here. So take imperfect action. Don't be so afraid that you cannot pursue your goals and dreams. I've dreamt of having a podcast. I just always thought that back in my mind that you needed to be, already X amount of followers, a website, you had to have a product or service you were selling. And then like, finally you could like add the podcast layer. So I'm super fired up to be here with you because, I'm going into this super messy. My podcasts aren't, great. They're just with me right now before I bring my guests on and, you're with me. So thank you for joining me on this journey because it's messy right now. And I'm okay with that if you're okay with that. But I'm pursuing something that I love and believe in. And it's really being here with you. That fires me up. It makes me feel excited and to just learn about your life and how I can help you find resilience and create amazing relationships in your life, because that's what drives my heart. So anyway, take imperfect action like I am. Number 3, practice gratitude and affirmations. Cultivating a positive mindset can significantly impact your confidence. Regularly practicing gratitude by acknowledging the things you're thankful for in life can help rewire your thinking. That's so important. Repeat positive statements over and over and over. I am capable. I am worthy of success. I believe in myself. Peace starts within me. Over time, these practices can boost your self-belief and create a more confident outlook for you. If you have to put sticky notes around you, make a new cover for your phone so that you can see it, a little wallpaper that says, these are my affirmations for the day, or you're triggering yourself with that rubber band on your wrist, that looping thought came in. Okay, what should I say? Peace. You've got this. I am worthy. I am worthy of success. I believe in myself. I am capable of doing this. I remember when I started going through hyperbaric last year and super claustrophobic to get into an HBOT machine and very small, one person lay down machine, softbox. And it took me like a month to actually get in and have it zipped up and do a session, a month. I literally though said, I'm capable of doing this. Hundreds of people have done this before me, thousands of people. I just need to get myself over the hump of getting, confident that I can be in the hyperbaric machine by myself and feel okay about it. But it took me a month. I kept going in there. I hung out with the nurses. I sat in the thing. I booked times where I was just sitting there for like 30 minutes by myself with the whole machine open. I couldn't zip it up. It was crazy. It literally took me a month. And then once there were times where I could only do, when we first started, and I actually was able to do the double zipper and get in. By the way, it really helps when you have air conditioning in there. I definitely tried it before it had air conditioning. It was so hot. It actually made feeling claustrophobic worse. But again, I kept saying to myself, I'm capable. I am successful. I can do this. I can do this. I am okay. I'm breathing oxygen. I'm not going to die in here. When I finally got the 2 zipper levels closed up, I started with 15 minutes. Like literally they got the pump on, they started it, and then they had to bring it down, and that's all I could do. And I walked down and I'm like, well, talked to my husband. Hey babe, how'd you do? Hey, 15 minutes today, didn't really get anywhere. And slowly I started working up to 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and then even up to 90 minutes in there at a time. So, but it took me a long time to get there. And then I was doing it on a regular basis, forcing myself to go back and building that confidence. But again, I was super grateful to have the compassion of the incredible nursing team there. I had my affirmations I was practicing. I put myself in a meditative space. When I was inside hyperbaric, I would bring my little essential oil bottle and, I would have something to do or watch that could keep me calm and just peace out. So that was like my time. But that can help you get over a challenging situation, right? Is just creating a new mind frame around the situation, even if you think you can't do it. I know I have friends that say, I'm absolutely claustrophobic. I cannot get into an elevator at all. It might change, or you might know someone that actually needs hyperbaric in their life and say, yes, you can listen to the story. Because even going in there, literally, if you know someone that needs this, listen up. You can do it. It's just, soft boxes are great. The soft boxes are great. And they're usually at these little individual shops. Even sitting there unzipped to just practice is like perfect. So I love HBOTs now and can't wait to have one of my own one day. But gratitude practice and affirmations are so important. I'm using it continuously right now as I'm moving through my messy space of doing what we're doing. So building confidence, as you know, everyone, is a journey, and it's okay to have ups and downs along the way. I'm in the same space. Be patient and be kind to yourself. As you work through becoming a more confident version of yourself, know that it's going to take support and people around you. So don't hesitate to speak up to friends and family. We talked about the power of voice. Don't hesitate to speak up to friends, family, coworkers, your hairstylist, like whoever is around you, your network, your community. Share your story. Have them help you be guided on your path to a greater self-assurance, because it will happen. And I believe in you. Whatever you think that you cannot do, I believe you truly can do it, because it's out there. All right, so we've talked about the empowerment of confidence, and I want to dive into standing up and the power of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or ignoring the past. It means freeing yourself from the burdens that weigh you down and prevent you from soaring to your potential. So important. So how do we embrace the stand out and speak out ethos in our daily lives? Here's 3 ways. I'm on the 3-way train. I think 3 ways is always like the simplest thing to get. When someone gives me 5, 6, or 10 things, I'm overwhelmed already. I'm like, no, I just need, what's the 3 thing? So how do we embrace the stand up and speak out ethos in our daily lives? Here are 3 ways to do this. First, define your values. Write your values down. What fundamentally is important to you? That's a value. What principles drive your life? That's a value. By knowing this will guide your journey and inspire you to stand up when your values are challenged. Make a list on your phone. If you say, hey, I don't even have a list of values, go find it from someone else and then make your own with it. Create your values, because when you're being challenged in a situation, it's time to go look at the value sheet and be like, is this, like double check, like the red flag list that we talked about in episode, I think 2, we talked about creating red flag lists. This is like values. When you're being challenged in a situation, probably not, you're going to say, hey, I need to check my values list, but you might take a moment that hits where you have that in your toolbox and be like, I'm going to see if the situation's actually in alignment with my values. Most of the time, it's probably not if you are already being challenged. Trust your intuition. By the way, if you have not heard the first 2 episodes on trusting your intuition, go check it out. I think you will find a couple of tools that might help you shift and think about your intuition. So incredibly powerful when you're making decisions to listen to your gut feeling, especially if you're trained to use your gut feeling. A lot of times your gut feeling can make the wrong decision also, because it can be the next shiny object. But if you're trained to use your intuition and it's like you're listening and your spiritual guides are helping you move through this space, it's probably the right decision. Anyway, going back to defining your values, write down your values, share what it feels like when your values are being challenged, so that you know, like, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm talking to my friends a lot. It's looping in my head. It's like, oh, my values are being challenged. Yes, I've got to make a change. Okay, second is assert your boundaries. So important. It's vital to voice your needs, your feelings, and your expectations, and stand firm when these boundaries are crossed. I cannot emphasize this more, because we talked about your values being like challenged, right? If your boundaries are crossed and you're not sharing why, then nobody else can read your mind, right? So great little story, going to a restaurant. I have food allergies. Maybe you know someone that does. And I used to make everyone around me feel uncomfortable because I didn't know what to order. It was very stressful. And then I changed it because I wasn't voicing what I needed or how I felt, but now I changed that. So I just let everyone in my group know and the server know, hey, I have a food allergy and I just want to make sure that this is taken care of. But when I do that and I'm voicing my needs and my feelings, everyone else can help support that situation. So important. I know it's a small little thing, small little story here, example. Second, assert your boundaries. Make sure your boundaries are not crossed when you're in these touchy situations of embracing the stand out, speak out ethos. And number 3, remember that standing up doesn't mean standing alone. Reach out for support when it's needed. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your strength and courage. That's so important. Reach out to your network, coaches, family, friends, community, churches, social channels, anyone that can help support you through a challenging situation, right? Because standing up does make you feel alone. Like you feel like, ooh, I made a decision, this situation happened, and now I'm by myself, and this whole other tribe is like in this other space, but now I feel like alone. But you're not alone. Share your story. Like, hey, I did this, I spoke up, I did this, get the support you need through your network. So powerful. And when you believe in what you believe in and you share and you use your voice, other people will help support that. As we wrap up, I hope this discussion has sparked a desire in you to stand up. Use your voice and liberate yourself from situations that are holding you back. Thank you, dear listeners, for spending time with me on Embers Rising. I'm Wendy Jae, and I can't wait for our next journey together. Until then, let the embers of your passion keep glowing. Stand up and let your voice echo. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Embers Rising, where we ignite the flames of personal growth and empowerment together. Remember, the journey to discovering your true potential doesn't end here. It's just the beginning of something incredible. At Embers Rising, we believe in fostering community of like-minded souls who support and uplift one another. So if you're eager to continue on this transformative path, we invite you to subscribe to our podcast. By subscribing, you'll become part of our family, receiving weekly doses of inspiration, empowerment, and practical wisdom. Our mission is to empower you to embrace your authentic self, unleash your inner fire, and conquer the challenges that come your way. Together, we'll rise like embers, lighting up the world around us. Remember, every step you take counts, and each spark of inspiration fuels your greatness. Stay passionate, stay curious, and keep rising like the embers.